Hi everyone, James here with the RPG channel. Thank you for watching the RPG channel. And while I have been working frantically on Devil's Crossroads, trying to get that finished, and the playtesters have been amazing, thank you guys for all of the feedback I've been getting. Keep that coming, definitely. There will be some more stuff taking place next week that is pretty exciting. And so I'm going to spend a couple of videos talking more about the actual rules of the game and where stuff like that's headed, like what I'm trying to do with the system itself. I want to talk to you a little bit about guns first. And while I want the focus of this game to be on characters and story, there is no way you can do a Western game and not have gunfights in it at some point. And why would you want to? Gunfights and showdowns and things like that are one of the coolest parts of the Western genre, so I've really tried to play to that. Thing is, I am not an expert when it comes to guns. Don't know much about guns, honestly. Modern guns, historical guns, same boat. And while I might be able to fake this to some extent, people who are into guns tend to really be into guns, and I don't want to try to compete with that knowledge base. So, on another part of that is, this game isn't trying to be a simulation game. So it was more important to me when I was designing these weapons to focus on things like game balance and how to customize your character by, like, you know, since I'm carrying this gun, what does this say about my character, rather than worrying about the particulars of range and firepower and stuff like that. So one of the biggest points of inspiration that I've had for the weapons in this game come from the video game that I've mentioned a couple of times, Call of Juarez Bound in Blood. This game is only like $10 at Target. I cannot recommend it enough. It's amazing. And there's a lot of guns used in this game, and I'd like to show you a couple of them. Like, the standard 6-shooter is definitely the trademark gun of the Old West, but there are a couple of more exotic type weapons available in Call of Juarez that I've tried to duplicate in Devil's Crossroad. And since you might not be entirely familiar with these, then I will try to show you a little bit about where I'm coming from with a couple of these non-6-shooter guns. Okay, the first gun I want to show you is something that shows up in Devil's Crossroad called the Quick Shooter. And the Quick Shooter is a type of revolver that has a modification to it that makes reloading really quick. And there's some debate, like there's actually no record of anyone in the Old West actually doing this, but it is theoretically possible, so it shows up in movies and games and stuff. And what happens is you shoot off all your bullets, and then rather than replace them like one by one, you can just pop in a new cylinder, or sometimes the bullets are shown like bound together somehow. So it just makes reloading really fast, but doesn't really change the damage or anything like that on the gun. And so that's where the quick shooter idea came from. Okay, next off are these things, and I was really hesitant to include these weapons just because I wasn't sure if they were real, but I did some checking, and sure enough, they were a real thing. And what you're seeing here is a pair of double-barrel pistol grip shotguns. Each one of them in this game has 2 barrels, but the ones that show up in Devil's Crossroad are actually just single shot ones. So, like a shotgun, but fired like a pistol. Okay, this is another one of those guns that I had to look up because I wasn't sure about whether or not it was even real or not. It's called the Volcano gun, and in real life it was made by a company called the Volcano Repeating Arms Company, I believe. Kind of a neat history behind that company if you want to look it up or anything. But it's a pistol, as you can see, but it holds a whole lot of bullets and loads like that. It's a pretty early gun, and was... the actual loading mechanism for it eventually became what they used in rifles, from my understanding of it. But it never actually worked all that well in a handgun. So the design just never caught on and they were notoriously unreliable. And I tried to emulate that in the game to a degree. These things weren't very popular, but I made them a little bit more playable, and hopefully some people will appreciate the inclusion of them. At least in this game, they're kind of a mid-range pistol. They've got a lot of power for the handguns, but they've got the best range out of any of the guns in the game. And so while it can't necessarily compete with a rifle, it can outdo most other handguns, which makes it kind of an in-between sort of weapon. And while I'm here, I'll go ahead and show you. In this game, you can aim as long as you've got one gun in your hand. You can't aim if you've got two, and this will increase the damage of your weapon and make it more likely for you to hit, obviously. And I really tried to include that mechanic in Devil's Crossroad also, making it where if you take the time to actually aim your shot, you'll not only be more likely to hit, but do a bit more damage with the firearms also. Okay, next gun is this thing here. It's called a pepper box. I've also heard it referred to as an Apache gun. I'm thinking that's probably a derogatory term. And you can't really see it here, but it is essentially just a cylinder with a trigger. They stuck a knife on the end of this one. I think that's just for aesthetics. I've never seen a picture of a real one with a knife on the end. And the thing about a pepper box is it looks kind of like a Gatling gun and works a little bit on the same mechanic. It's really a rapid-firing pistol, which is something you normally don't see with handguns of this era. So, based on the information here, not extraordinarily powerful, but has a good rate of fire. And the next gun I want to show you is this thing here, which is called a hybrid gun. And the hybrid gun is kind of nifty because it offers one shot that is significantly more powerful than the rest of them. It's kind of like it has normal bullets in it except for this one. So I guess if you've seen pictures of guns that have like a shotgun barrel stuck under them, kind of like that, except this one's not a shotgun. So it gives you a little bit more variety in how you want to fire and stuff like that. Aiming. So these are some of the guns you can look forward to in Devil's Crossroad. And I hope these look exciting to you, and I'm very interested to see what kind of characters and things like that that people can come up with, and I hope that the variety of guns that I've offered help you out on that. This has been James with the RPG Channel. Thanks for watching.